All right, now this builds on a story from the previous episode. You heard about the smart summon stuff with Tesla, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody's talking about it. You got all these clips emerging, people in parking lots moving the car around, remote control car acting sporadically. You even got who's that guy? Trevor Noah. He's even cracking jokes on Tesla now. So it's hard out there. You want to innovate. You want to be an Elon Musk type character. It's hard out there. It's fun. It's fun to poke fun. That's why it's called poking fun, which is what people do. But this story, this one really messed me up. You have a driverless Tesla in smart summon mode being summoned and getting pulled over by the police in a video, creating a modern conundrum of which who is to blame for any decision that the self-driving summoned vehicle makes while driverless. You would assume the driver would be responsible, but in this video, that's not quite what happens. The individual, what is the channel here? It's drag racing, street racing, drag times. Drag Times is the YouTube channel. So this guy for like 13 minutes is just driving his Tesla Model 3 around a parking lot, testing out different scenarios, seeing how it behaves, testing out the smart summon functionality, and making a video about it like a lot of people have. Now, at some point in the video, while being smart summoned, the Model 3 goes through a stop sign. And when it does, a police officer in the distance catches it moving through the stop sign without stopping, at which point the police officer pulls the car over, approaches the vehicle, realizes it's driverless, and is left scratching his head. Now, when I'm watching the video, I'm like, if I'm the cop, I'm noticing these guys filming, and I'm just going to walk straight over them and go, what are you doing with this car? But the cop's a nice guy. He kind of plays along a little bit. He goes, looks at the car. He talks to the guy. He has a little fun with it. You could tell, even for him, it's interesting to encounter a car without a driver being driven solely by technology. Who knows? Maybe he's a tech fan himself, the police officer. Mm-hmm. But we have this footage. He looks in the car, at which point he approaches the owner and says, okay, so you saw that it blew the stop sign, but I don't know what to do. And they're left there looking at one another, at which point the cop finally decides, I can't give you a ticket. I can't, even though it went through the stop sign, I can't give you a ticket. You weren't driving. What are we going to do? Now, the whole thing has a weird, awkward vibe to it. And I know immediately you did what people on the internet do. Immediately, Will said, is this real? Is this a setup? Will's just a guy on the internet. Sometimes he's in the world. Sometimes he's on the internet.
The cop looks a little too nice. I don't know.
I know.
Maybe he's a tech head or something, but
it kind of messed me up too, because he's kind of smirking and he's having a good time, and cops aren't usually like that. But he looks very official. His vehicle looks official. They blanked out the cop car number in the video on the side of it. He does hand him the license and registration. So I don't know. A lot of people are speculating on whether or not it's fake or real. And if it is, but if it isn't, let's say it isn't fake, or let's say it is real. Mm-hmm. Regardless, let's just play it out. Assume that this happens. Is the person responsible? Does the person get the ticket if they haven't committed the infraction, but an inanimate object, a vehicle that they own, has been out there committing infraction? If your robot is out there committing infractions, can you be held accountable? You see where we're going? You see the problem we have here, Will? Mm-hmm. If you have a dog and it goes out and attacks somebody, you can be held accountable in certain circumstances.
Right.
But you have pre-existing laws and precedent cases for that. This is so new that the stuff doesn't exist. And I'm sitting there thinking, even if I'm the cop, what can I do if I don't have a precedent?
Right.
Well, how do I know if he goes and fights it in court, who's really wrong and who's really right? This man did not go through a stop sign. The car made the bad decision to go through the stop sign. Yeah. It's so complex, Will. And in this case, I know you think I'm really not trying to be dramatic here. Mm-hmm. In this case, it just went through a stop sign, but imagine it was something more severe. You get into this really weird zone of trying to figure out what you do about it and trying to figure out how you move on from it. Now, for the record, I'm not trying to shut down the technology. I'm out here. I root for technology. But this one has brought up all kinds of philosophical questions, and the clips I'm seeing up until this point of how this thing's behaving in parking lots, I'm not sure it's ready right now. That's just based on what I've seen. I haven't seen everything, and I don't have the vehicle, but based on what I've seen and the way people are using it,
yes,
not the technology itself, the way people are using it could be a problem.
Yeah, I think some people, at least right now, don't consider this smart summon as a utility, but more of like a funny gag that they can impress people with.
Right.
So maybe in time it'll get better. It will get better eventually, but right now it's definitely not right.
I know you and I were talking previously. We both came to the conclusion that if we had one of these vehicles, these are expensive vehicles, nice vehicles, we're not going to be smart summoning it.
Yeah.
we're not in a parking lot, let alone.
Yeah.
We talked about before, parking lot is no man's land. Parking lot is chaos on its own without this extra variable. Who knows? One day when they all figure out their own business and everything's autonomous, that's going to be a little easier. But humans are unpredictable. Not just the humans initiating the smart summon, but also the humans in the parking lot making their very own decisions on how they're driving their vehicles and so forth. It turns out the parking lot far less predictable than the motorway, as far as I can tell. But what a crazy story.